Now, because we're talking about relationships, what I'm talking now is more specific to romantic relationships, right? Every relationship goes through a cycle. So what will be the stages of relationship?
Courtship.
Even before that, the first step. The two people need to meet each other.
Yeah.
And this is where similarities come into play. There has to be some common ground between both partners to meet each other. They may have the same interest, they may go to the same school or same college, they may be working at the same place, they may be part of the same Facebook group, they may have common set of friends, they may go to the same gym or the same bar, but there has to be some common ground where they meet each other. They may have gone to the same party for all we know, right? But we meet so many people. What happens next after meeting? The next stage is
Meeting more often.
Likes and discussion probably.
in the
And
relation.
noticing the differences and similarities.
Can you say that again, please?
Knowing each other more.
Noticing. Okay.
Even
You go
before
on.
knowing each other, if you notice, for most people, the attraction happens before they start knowing each other well. It's the attraction that drives them to know each other better.
True.
Right? So, what causes the attraction?
But Nitin, would this be different for, say, maybe an arranged marriage or people who've been asked to meet?
Even in arranged marriages, generally, not always, obviously exceptions exist, but generally speaking, when people get together, when they are married, you will notice that it's the opposites that attracted them towards each other. The exception is where two people have not met each other at all and the families decided to get them married.
Okay.
Right? But if people have met each other and they had a say whether they like the person or not, you will generally notice that it's the opposites that got them attracted to each other.
Okay.
Sir, a preoccupied mentality that we need to have someone in our life, that also works.
It would, but the question is, in that preoccupied mentality, there are so many people that you meet. Why did you choose that one person? Or why is it that we get attracted towards one set of people? So this is called play of opposites, where something different about the person actually made you curious about the person. नहीं होता, there are people that you get attracted to, you're like, इसकी बार इसमें कुछ तो बात है, कुछ तो अलग है. I have to find what is that different in him or her.
It's like you start thinking कि ऐसे कैसा कोई हो सकता है.
Correct. ऐसा कैसे कोई हो सकता है? And it could be as simple as someone if you are someone who loves attention and you see someone sitting alone in a corner, you're like, कोई अकेले कैसे बैठे हो सकता है इतना आराम से? मतलब मैं तो अकेले पागल हो जाऊंगा. Right? So there is some kind of an opposite that creates a play where you start getting attracted to that other person. Next. Is the honeymoon phase, where that attraction becomes stronger and you really want to know more about that person. You actually start pursuing that person. This is generally considered to be the best phase of a relationship. The world becomes more colorful. You start seeing butterflies everywhere. There's background music playing in your life. All people in your life start appearing like they are happier. You are happier. Right? The world literally becomes a better place to live. Not really. You think it's become a better place to live. Right? Has any of you noticed this? That phase in between where you feel अब तो कितनी अच्छी जिंदगी चल रही है, सब अच्छा हो गया है.
Fantasy.
definitely.
So that's the honeymoon phase. The honeymoon phase continues till your commitment becomes formalized, which means not only you and your partner have committed to each other, the commitment has also been made public. What do I mean by this?
It reaches a flat state probably.
Correct. So it reaches a place where, see, so there are times in a honeymoon phase where you have committed to the partner, the partner is committed to you, but you have chosen to keep it a secret from the world right now. As long as it's a secret from the world, generally the relationships continue quite well. The moment that secret is in open and people know about the commitment, that's where that flat
Yeah, the
stage
people
starts
getting-
coming up. When it becomes public, that's where the stage becomes flat. The reason for that is, as long as it's secret, you are spending X amount of time together. You can't be together 24/7 because the world doesn't know it right now. Right? The moment you make it public, your friend circles start merging. You start spending like most of the day together. You're constantly on phone when you're not together. We also start believing that we know everything about each other. So in the honeymoon phase, the irony is that attraction happens because of opposites. But we live in an illusion that we are similar. Have you noticed your friends being in a relationship where you could literally see that the two people are very different from each other, but the person is just not willing to acknowledge? They would say हम बिल्कुल एक जैसे हैं. And any place where they were different is considered as a compliment, that we are complementing each other. Right? So for example, between me and Misbah, so when I walk, okay, I would walk looking up. To an extent, it was funny that I had my hostel and my college like next to each other. I had to cross a lane to go to my college, to my hostel from my college. And there was a particular patch जहाँ पे वो फुटपाथ के ऊपर टाइल्स टूटी हुई थी. And I could probably slip every day on that footpath because I would just not pay attention when I'm walking looking down. I would keep looking up. Right? When Misbah would walk, she would generally look down. And given the fact that we come from two very different backgrounds, obviously there was a lot of difference between us in terms of culture and so on. So my friends would tell me, Nitin, how would this ever work? Do you realize how different you are? And I would tell them, how are we different? And they would give me this as an example. That जब तू चलता है तो you look up, and when she walks she looks down. मतलब even observably, behaviorally, there are so much of difference. And my answer to them would be that, you know what, we are so complementing each other. When I look up, metaphorically, I'm aware of every opportunity that comes our way. When she looks down, she's aware of whatever pitfalls and loopholes there are so that we don't fall in it. Right? Now, so this is an illusion, right? That we are similar, that we complement each other, because there are differences. Now, if in the honeymoon phase, this illusion is not tackled, then in the plateau phase, it becomes a problem because we are in a constant state where with each other. The differences come to the surface because you're constantly with each other. Right? But we feel we know each other well, so we don't need to communicate about it. So problems start surfacing, but communication goes for a toss. Right? So the sooner we realize that we are different, the better it is in a relationship. So another source of problem is the illusion of being similar. Is this clear?
So I had a question here, Nitin.
बोलिए.
So मैंने देखा है कि कई लोग they would शायद रिलेशनशिप में 7 साल 8 साल रहे हैं, they've been boyfriend girlfriend, लेकिन जैसे शादी होती है मतलब टूट जाती है शादी. So मतलब तब तो they're in the plateau phase. I think at some point they would have reached the plateau phase. फिर भी ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है कि immediately after marriage they actually come to a situation where they are ready to divorce?
Because once the commitment takes place, not in terms of commitment, in terms of marriage, because that's what formal commitment means, right? The moment that commitment takes place, there are added responsibilities that come up or added expectations that come up that were not there earlier. And that expectation creates a lot of problems. Because now, see, since till you're not married, till you're living with each other, there's enough space and there's enough proximity. Both of them are there. And people are still on their toes because they know that we are not yet married to each other. So while we want to get married to each other, while we are delaying that process of marriage, that's okay. But we are still free
Give
to
it our
choose
best.
and do what we can. Right? The moment the marriage takes place, now there are expectations from the society, expectations from the parents. The partner also expects you to do certain things that their parents expect you to do. You also expect them to do certain things that your parents expect them to do. And all of that creates a change in the equation that was there. So when people decide to get married after 8, 9, 10 years of courtship, they feel we are getting married because we know each other well, and there is nothing that's going to change after marriage now because we have been with each other. But sadly, that's not true. The moment they get married to each other, things still change. Right? And that's why I actually spoke about the more formal the commitment, the greater are the chance of problems. So, and that's the irony, that the idea of making a commitment formal is to ensure that the relationship sustains. But that's also becoming the primary reason for the conflicts in relationships.
Sir, this thing, I mean, can you elaborate more that the more formal, how does it lead to more complications? Because sometimes we make it more formal just so that we are clear on our own terms that what we are comfortable with, what we are not. So in future, if at all something comes in between, so this reminds us that I think we had decided and we had agreed on this.
Correct. So if that formal is only based on the equation between two partners, where partner A and partner B decides their part of the responsibility, their part of the responses, and how conflicts will be resolved, then that's okay. But sadly, that doesn't happen, right? The moment they get married, then there's family, then there's society, then there are certain expectations that come from there. So even if the man or the women have decided, for example, so let's say the girl has decided that I don't want to do housework.
Then the constellation is different.
Correct.
Yeah, so when they make the terms, that time they are into a different and private environment. Then they are exposed into the social environment where the terms may need to get reframed or rechanged.
Correct. And that's where the
Correct, sir,
problem
this is what
comes with. Correct. And that's where the problem comes, because then the partner start feeling, but I did not sign up for this. मैंने शादी के पहले बहुत formally बोला था कि मुझे ये चीजें चाहिए. Now, if my partner, and it may not be that your partner is asking you to do something too much. It could simply be that the girl says, let's say, that I am not going to cook. The boy says, all right, I can take care of cooking. I like cooking. Not an issue. But now, the boy and the girl go temporarily to the boy's family home, where the parents are there. And the boy's parents hate the idea that boy is cooking. And they want the girl to cook. So the boy tells the girl that, you know what, I would expect कि हफ्ते भर हम घर पे हैं, can you please do the cooking for this 1 week? Now, technically the girl is not wrong. The girl says, but that's not what I signed up for. I said I would not want to do cooking. So she was very clear in that. Right? So she's not wrong. But because of the overall environment changing, where now she's expected to do that, not just by the boy, but because the family expects her to do it, the boy's hand also gets tied in terms of what he can and he can't do. right? And that can become a source of conflict. The reverse can also happen. The girl says, so let's say the girl says that, all right, I would want to go out and fetch for resources. I want you to do the housework. And the boy agrees. But the girl goes to her family, and her family expects the boy to be earning and earning more than the girl. So someone in the family asks her, "Aapka pati kya karta hai?" And while the husband is a house husband, the wife doesn't want to say that because she knows that she would then have to hear from the family. So she makes up a story and she says, "Oh, he's working in a company." And she then says that there is a particular amount of money that he's earning. Right? Now the guy can feel that if you wanted to say that, then why did you tell me not to work? And if you are happy with me not working, then why are you lying over there? Right? So that formal equation that they created with each other may need to be tweaked because of society norms. And there it's both partners' ability to handle society. Does that clarify, Simone, what I meant by saying that once the relationship becomes more formal? Because the more formal it becomes, the more it gets scrutinized by society in general. Then it's not just about the two of you.
Yes, sir. Very, very clearly, sir. Thank you.
And I would like to add that in more cases than not, these terms or expectations are never explicitly discussed or communicated. So that's another thing.
Perfect. Is this clear till here?
Yes, correct, sir.
Perfect. Is the plateau phase clear?
Yes.
Now, in the plateau phase, what's happening is our expectations are not being fulfilled. Right? And our expectations are not being fulfilled because we are not willing to communicate what our expectations are. We may have had an original agreement that we agreed with. Over a period of time, the expectations are changing, but we are not willing to communicate their expectations to our partner. And we are not willing to communicate their expectations to our partner because we feel that we are similar, so my partner understands. I don't need to say it to him or her. If this continues for too long, it would lead to a trauma. So the relationship kind of becomes traumatic. And if we are able to understand this and realign our expectations again, then it would lead to resolution. Trauma would eventually lead to dissolution. And dissolution can happen either through breakup or it can happen with the death of one of the partners.
So can you repeat this point?
So if the plateau phase continues too long, at some point of time, it starts becoming traumatic where you are not happy in the relationship at all. And it starts bothering you more and more. There are more fights that start happening. So it literally becomes like a traumatic relationship. Right? Now, once people are able to understand this, they would move to resolution. They'll probably be able to realign their expectations and so on. If they're not able to, then eventually at some point the relationship gets dissolved. The dissolution can happen because the two partner decides to separate or because something happens to one of the partners. So there are relationships which continue in the traumatic phase till one of the partner dies. Okay, and the death doesn't necessarily mean that the other partner is killing the partner, not literally at least. It could be because of health issues or some other reason. Is this clear till here?
So I had a question. So when we're talking about the plateau phase, so is the plateau phase pre-marriage or is it during a marriage?
It can be both. It can start pre-marriage when the commitment gets formalized. The more formal the commitment gets, the more people get to know about it, the deeper the plateau phase would become, till it reaches a place where two people feel that it's just no longer working for them. So it may take traumatic phase some more time to set in. For some people, for example, immediately after marriage in the next couple of days or couple of weeks, it can move to the traumatic phase. For some people, it could take years after marriage. for it to reach the traumatic phase. But the idea is that it's just a slow movement happening, and a lot of other factors come into play. For example, in a lot of relationships, the plateau phase sets in, they get married to each other, they are committed as the traumatic phase starts setting in, a child takes birth. Now, the moment you have a child, the responsibility of the parents shifts to the child. So they are no longer focusing on the conflict between the two of them. They are now focusing on the child. So while the trauma is there, but the trauma is minimized because they are not really focusing on each other. There is a third person in the element, in the system. Over a period of time, as the third person grows, now the two partners can focus on each other again, and they can resume wherever their trauma was before they started focusing on the child. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. So there is no specific timeline, but generally that's where the mid-age crisis, middle life crisis in terms of a relationship and everything would set in. वो पहले 7 years each होता था, अभी there are times when there is 7 months or 7 weeks or 7 days each also. It depends upon the kind of relationship we're talking about. Perfect. Are we good till here? Any questions on this? So the illusion of being similar creates a problem because our expectations are not being, our expectations from each other are different. But are not being met. Clear?
Yes.
Now, the reasons why expectations are not being met is one, as I mentioned, the illusion of us being similar. Second, expectations are based on our interactions with our partner during the honeymoon phase. And in the honeymoon phase, we are generally at our best behaviors. So our expectations are based on the best behaviors. Can I fulfill my partner's expectation if she wants me to be at my best behavior 24/7?
No way.
Right? But that's how our expectations are set, right? So for example, all right. So as I mentioned, I used to live in a hostel, right? So in my hostel, there used to be a hostel day where other members of my family and my friend circle were allowed in the hostel, apart from only the hostel mates. So from morning 9 to evening 6, that day would be open. Girls and boys and everyone would be allowed in the hostel. So obviously, so would my girlfriend be. Now, on that particular day when it was a hostel day, because 9 o'clock the hostel day started, at 8:59, you will find the hostel the cleanest. I mean, you could not find a speck of dust anywhere in the hostel. And this would be true till 6:01. At 10 o'clock, my girlfriend comes to my room. What does she see?
Spick and span.
Completely clean room. Now, what is her expectation of me? Keep एकदम clean रहता है.
हमेशा.
हमेशा. वो मैं साल में एक दिन कर सकता हूँ. But based on that, if you expect me to do it every day, unlikely. Right? So that's true when we talk about proximity and space, for example. So during the honeymoon phase, if I want proximity and my partner is busy, I give them that space. I tell them, "Koi nahi, when you are free, give me a call." If I give them a call and they don't pick up the call, I don't fight with them that you have not picked up the call during the honeymoon phase. Okay? Once the commitment becomes formalized, when my partner has not picked up my call twice or thrice, oh God save him after that, or God save her after that. Right? Similarly, in terms of space, if my partner during the honeymoon phase is calling me again and again because I'm not meeting her frequently, okay, I can pick up her call because I know probably पता नहीं आज मिल पाऊंगा कि नहीं मिल पाऊंगा. But once the commitment gets formalized and I know कि घर पे तो साथ में जाके मिलना ही है. Now when they call me up, I may not pick up their phone because the idea is घर जाके मिलूंगा तो है ही सही. right? And I may even get irritated. बार बार फोन करने की क्या जरूरत है, शाम को घर तो आऊंगा ना मैं. So now my partner is expecting, before we got married to each other, before we started living with each other, you were very happy picking up my phone every time I called up. Now you get irritated. So do you see how the behaviors have not changed actually by the partner? It's how we are responding to that behavior that's changed. And that's happening because our expectations from our partners have changed. So that's how we differentiate between core behaviors and surface behaviors. Surface behaviors is what we were doing when we were in the honeymoon phase. We were at our best behavior. That's the surface behavior. Core behavior is what we are. So साल में एक दिन मैंने रूम क्लीन किया, दैट्स माय सरफेस बिहेवियर. जनरली दिन भर मेरे रूम में चीजें बिखरी रहती है, दैट्स माय कोर बिहेवियर. Is this clear?
Yes.
Any questions on this? Now, this expectation would also revolve around our need for proximity and space. And is also based on the expected behavior patterns from a society point of view. Does that make sense? Now we want all of our expectations to be fulfilled because that allows us to maintain a sense of control in our relationship. So apart from this, the other source of conflict is past baggage. What do I mean by past baggage?
Past experiences, impression about the past tense.
Correct. So let's say there's someone who says, I have been through a couple of bad relationships, right? And those relationships have made it very difficult for me to trust. Now, in my current relationship, my partner doesn't seem to be doing anything wrong, but I still have major trust issues and I can't trust them. And because I don't trust them, then there is a lot of fights which are happening, and it's happening because I am not able to trust them. Or I saw the relationship between my parents being really bad, that has left like a really bad impression about relationships, and I keep judging my current relationship based on my past experiences. So while they logically is nothing wrong with that, but the past baggage still is what is creating the major source of problem. Yes?
Yes.
Perfect. So now, coming back to what I was saying earlier, what could be the areas of expectation?